This is going to be the start of the Celica build, so thanks everyone who's joining. I hope this is going to be interesting for you guys. We're going to be learning quite a lot along the way. Hopefully we don't make too many mistakes, but let's see how we get on. So let's get straight into the car, and the car in question is Cindy. She is a Toyota Celica ST202. It's a GT model, so it's a 2 litre naturally aspirated car, twin cam 16 valve engine. These produce about 175 horsepower from factory. It's not the quickest car, but it's good enough. So the car is 2-wheel drive, power goes to the front. Unfortunately it's not rear-wheel drive, but we'll do what we can with the car and make the most of it. So I picked Cindy up a couple of weeks ago, and I've been working on her ever since, and the problem list is slowly, well I should say quite quickly increasing. We found a lot of things not necessarily wrong with the car, but things that I would like to fix. I'm not going to rebuild the engine. I'm not going to go to that extent, I don't think. But there are quite a few things that I would like to do and just go to that level of detail to make sure that the car is running super smooth. So far on the car, more things have come off than they have gone back on. So at the moment, the car is on jack stands. As you can see, all the wheels are off. All of the brakes are off. So we started on the brakes because they were the biggest problem, and the engine seemed to be running all right, but lo and behold, issues kept arising. So at the moment I've been working on taking off the rocker cover. It looked like the rocker cover gasket was leaking, and we've found the source of that, so we'll get right into that. So here's the rocker cover gasket. Safety is #1 priority, don't forget. And I bet you're thinking, why is it red and why is it black? So for some reason, whoever's had the car before has done a gasket on a gasket on a gasket, which is completely stupid. These cars only need one gasket, so it only needs the black gasket, and it fits into this here. This is the rocker cover, and you can see I've tried to get as much of it out as possible, but it could probably do with a jet wash. Moving back onto brakes, as you may have seen if you've been following my stories, I've been rebuilding the brakes, and I thought there's no point in rebuilding them if I'm not going to paint them. So what I've done is I've gone for a nice classy black, and this not only makes the car look a little bit better, but it gives us that protection against rust in the future, which is what we are mostly looking for. The main gaskets on the pistons themselves, they look all right and they should be okay. But the sliders, they were completely dead. So you can now join me underneath the car, and I'm hoping that the wind is not too loud. But here we have the sump. This is what holds all the oil in the bottom of the car. We've got the oil filter as well. I've changed that recently. But one of the issues I had was I dropped the oil, refilled it up, and put the sump plug in. And the sump plug was leaking, so made a new gasket for that after dropping the oil again. And also, I just thought there's no point in me leaving rubbish in the bottom of the sump. So I took the sump off, scraped the old gasket off, cleaned that out, and just refitted a gasket. You can see this red stuff that goes around the perimeter. Probably put a little bit too much gasket on there, but we'll be all right. It's better to have a little bit more than too little. So we'll see how that works. It should be all good. Just whilst I'm under the car, just want to point out probably one of the bigger issues that I found, and that is the CV joint, which, well, both CV joints on this driver's side, they're just non-existent. I'll show you now. So this is the inner CV boot. Try and move stuff out of the way, and it's got a massive hole in it, and it's been kicking out grease for God knows how long. And then we move to the outer one, and once again, big hole. Nice. So thumbs up to whoever replaced these before, because they've done a really, really great job. Try and get up from the bottom of the car, but yeah, that's the nature of the car. We've bought it to fiddle with it, learn and progress, and make an awesome car at the end. I am tracking how much money I'm spending on this, so if people do want to know how much I've spent, then I can put some costings in the description below. And also, if anyone has got anything at all that can help out with this, knowledge, you know, even stuff like brake cleaner, rags, blue roll, I'll take any donations, because I'm pretty sure we'll be running out of stock pretty soon. So drop us a message, drop us a comment if there's anything that you can do to help. So last night was working on the exhaust manifold cover. This was like a silver before. I'll show you the underside. I am going to paint the underside just so it doesn't rust, but gone for a nice satin matte black. And I'll just show it you on the car. Now I've just found another bolt, which is a bit annoying. I don't know where that's come from. Quite a big thread. Don't know. Anyway, I'll get this on and you can just have a look at what it should look like when it's finished. There we go. So that is it on the car, and that looks pretty good, I've got to say. I am not a professional spray painter if anyone asks, but that is a good job. What I'm planning on doing is painting the intake manifold. This, I think it's been painted before, that's why the previous owner has ruined the car with a stupid gasket. So I'll have a look at painting that and getting that sorted, but we might as well do it whilst it's off, make the car look better, and also it'd kill my OCD if those blacks didn't match. This is the garage that I'm working from. Mum and Dad, I am very sorry that I have ruined your nice house. I promise that I will fix it after I've fixed the car, that is, of course, priorities. But before we start any more work on the car, I think it is time to have a quick tidy up. So I'll do a quick time lapse and sweep up the garage, and then we can work on the next thing. Now I've tidied up, what I'm going to do is just make a quick note of things that I need to buy, because we've already found more stuff that we need to buy. The money pit of a car is taking up more money, unfortunately, but that's the nature of it, and my bank account is not very happy. I think most of my money is going to be spent on bloody brake cleaner, but I hope not. I'm hoping that when the brakes are back on and the engine is running, then we can start modding it, get it lowered, get some wheels on it, say do some donuts, but it can't do donuts, do some reverse donuts, get some Mackey's trays under the back. Just had a look at the air intake manifold. I noticed the car was running quite fast on idle. It's probably about 1800 RPM when the car's cold, and I've got a feeling it's something to do with the idle air control valve, so I'm just going to have a quick look at that, make sure there's no detritus, as we'd call it, in there, and see if there's anything that I can clean out. This is the air intake manifold. Essentially that flap there, that opens and closes and controls how much air goes in. But there is a secondary air intake here, this hose, which bypasses that flap, and that's controlled by a solenoid. And these tend to get blocked, I think, so what I'm going to do is just take off these screws, hopefully not break anything, and see what's in there. What have they tightened this on with? The last thing that I want to do is strip them out. Quick tip for people that don't know how to get stuck bolts out: don't fanny around with trying to just wrench it as hard as you can, because you risk stripping the head of the bolt. Quick tip: get your socket, or in this case screwdriver head, and hammer it home, and that should break off the galvanic corrosion inside the threads. I think that's what it's called, but give it a try. There we go, she's off. So I've gone round, loosened off the screws, and I'm going to just take them out one by one. Hopefully it should just pull off, but knowing this car, everything seems to be seized, so you never know. Probably will be seized, but we'll see. Give it a quick pull and we're off. So it wasn't seized. So despite the fact that those screws were pretty well stuck in there, they look like they're in very good condition. So maybe this has been changed before, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is the idle air control valve. You have air coming through this bottom tube here, and it must come out of that little port there, and then into the intake manifold. And that's again just to bypass this little valve. I can probably show you now actually, but essentially you have a throttle lead that attaches to your throttle controller, and when you press the accelerator down, this will open and close, which in turn open and closes this little flap in there, and that's what controls how much air goes into the engine. So if you didn't know already, brake cleaner solves the world's problems. Anything that you need to get off, brake cleaner just seems to do the trick. So got a little bit of oil on here, we've got a gasket as well, so what I'll do is I'll just quickly spray that with some brake cleaner, take off any of the debris if there is any, hopefully get a little bit of a better seal, pardon me, and get it reassembled. Right, so I've put some brake cleaner down that valve. You can see some of the rubbish that's coming out. Quite a lot has come out actually. Have a look, this little pile of gunk. I'm hoping that that's might be what's blocking it, but seems to be clear. Don't drink brake cleaner, kids. It's probably not the best thing for you, but had some wire wool somewhere, but it's gone missing. Get my safety specs and we'll chuck it on the drill. If you are using a rotary tool, just in general, just chuck some safety specs on. You don't want rust in your eye. You've only got one set of eyes, so look after them. I'm just going to clean it up with the wire brush. Just take off any of the surface rust or oil or grease. This just means that you should get a better connection with the joining hose that goes onto there. Happy with that. Get the brake cleaner again, cover it up. Probably all seen that I have holy clothes on. Yeah, I apologise for dressing up like a scrub, but there's no point me ruining nice clothes when I'm working on a car like this. I'm not going to be wearing any Gucci anytime soon. I would like to take that off, but I'm a little bit hesitant. I don't know whether I've got the balls to do it. Right, you know what? We're going to do it. You only live once. I don't know what's under here. A little bit scared. I'm hoping there's no springs, because I really don't want to have to rebuild this. I don't know what that is. Okay, it's off. I think it's a magnet that controls the... Yeah, it must be. So this looks like it's an electromagnet. If anyone's seen one before, basically you turn it on and the battery, the magnet turns on, turn it off and the magnet turns off. And that controls this little piece here, which you can see opens a little vent and closes it. And that little vent, it essentially allows the air to come and bypass the throttle body. I can't remember what it's called, throttle body valve. So the car can idle with that shut. I think that looks all right. I'm pretty happy with that. I think there's no severe issues there. Which means that it must be some form of vacuum leak that is causing the car to run fast on idle, but yet to find that out. I'll rebuild this, and actually I'll put on some aluminium grease. This stuff's really good. It's basically copper grease, but it stops galvanic corrosion causing them to stick. So I'll chuck a little bit of that on now. Right, so best way to apply grease to bolts and just stuff in general is paintbrush. This is an old paintbrush. Just got some grease on the end, and I just put a little coat of it on there. Oh, probably way too much. Anyway, more the merrier, right? Hope you can see that. And please don't judge me on the state of my hands. I am rebuilding a car, so they are going to be mucky. And they don't look like this all the time, okay? I do wash my hands, all right? Anyway, get this on all the bolts, rebuild it, see how we get on. So because I want to paint this, I think I need to take this guy off. So what I'll do is I'll see if I can get these bolts off. See what size it is. I'm going to guess a 12. Of course I'm right. Genius. So I've just taken this off, and I was right-ish. The previous owner looks like he's fiddled around with this. But once again, another gasket that we need to have a look at. What is that? Oh dear. I think this gasket has seen better days, to be honest. I have no idea what this is. Oh. Whatever that is has definitely seen better days. Done a bit of Googling. This guy is a throttle body gasket, and he is actually needed, but it shouldn't be red. I think what's happened is the previous owner has taken it off, and they've cracked it, and they couldn't be asked to buy a new one, so they've just tried to stitch it back together with some of this stuff, some of this gasket, Celica gasket. They cost £1.80 including tax, so I think the bank can survive that £1.80 for now. I'll get one of them purchased. I'll put it on the list of things to do, and in the meantime I'll clean up these faces, get rid of some of the rubbish that's in there. So for people wondering what I use to clean off the gasket off the surface, I just use a bit of wire wool. It seems to, I mean, if you look at this, it's a bit harder with just one hand, but seems to do the job pretty well. Make sure, you know, once you've done this, give it a good spray with ye old brake cleaner. Fast forward on 1 minute, and I've got the majority of the gasket off, and I'm just going to give it a spray with some brake cleaner and get it off with a rag. You can see it just pulls all the crap off the surface, and then we can just give it a quick wipe and get any last bit off of there. Just got to make sure we get all those little bits of wire wool out of there. Right, so we've just cleaned up the opposing end, and it looks all right. It's good enough, I think, for now. And we'll just do the same on this side. Just get off all of that rubbish and use the trusty friend wood fatty. Because I want to start painting stuff, what I'm going to do is take off all of the little fittings that are on the intake manifold. I'll just whip them off, masks, and we can start looking at masking stuff up, sanding things down, and then we should be able to use that high temperature paint that I bought yesterday to give stuff a quick spray. So I'll show you what I need to take off, and we'll go from there. So I've already made a start. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I could probably do with a new tube. But a PCV is a positive crankcase ventilation system, and it essentially just allows any positive pressure in the crankcase to ventilate back into the inlet manifold, and then it gets burnt again. Yeah, this looks all right. I think it's okay, but I'm not a big fan of that hose. So might have a look at getting another one of them. So I need, this is how bad my handwriting is. So we need a throttle body gasket. I can read it, but you probably can't. And a PCV hose. Yeah, cool. Toolkits that I own have all actually been bought as presents for birthdays and Christmases over the years. And now are coming in handy. So thanks everyone that's got me tools over the years and now actually using them. I hope this first vlog or video isn't boring, because I am enjoying taking the car apart, and I hope you guys also find it interesting, but I do find it a bit difficult to try and film and dismantle things at the same time, so I could probably do with a tripod or something like that. God, she's very tight, but she's out. Lovely. Okay, so I've just realised what time it is. It's about 1:30, and the sun is out, and I'm thinking what we could do is get the inside of the car vaxed up, get the seats vaxed in the sun. We can leave them outside to dry then, and whilst they're drying, what I can do is work on the intake manifold, hopefully be there as efficient as possible. This stuff is grim. This is after 2 runs of the car, as in 2 flushes of the car, sorry, with oil. So I'm glad I dropped the sump and checked everything, because luckily everything looks all right, but I think this is just rubbish that was stuck in the bottom. One thing that I was worried about was what if the cams are really worn, and you can see the cams are actually in really good condition. Now this car's on 112,000 miles and the cams are clean. That is not always the case. We'll get rid of this and oh my god, yeah, we'll get rid of this and hopefully can top it up soon, well, once all this stuff is built. Right, just off to the shop. It's time to get some more stuff. Got my list of stuff and yeah. For those who didn't know, this is my second car. This is Sienna, the Schrockoir. She's trusty steed for today. And I forgot something. Shock. Feel a bit sorry for her. She's not even got any flipping wheels on. And also, I need to fix the aerial. So my mate from work actually has a MR2. And it's in pretty good condition. And I'm quite jealous, actually. Although I don't want to admit it to him, the most important thing is the aerial goes all the way up. Mine doesn't. So I need to have a look at that. He suggested WD-40. Tried that, it's not working. So I think it's going to have to be a dismantle job. But Jack, I'm very jealous of the aerial on your Mr. 2. Beautiful. 350 for a bit of 140. Go on then. I'm not sure what this is, but the only stuff I can find is this. 450. God. We've got 5 minutes to clean up this guy. Okay, back from the shop. Picked up some of this carpet cleaner. This should do the job, I think. And it's 1:20 ratio. So 1 litre of this stuff for 20 litres of water. Cool. So I'll just fill up the tub with some water. I think this does 5 litres, so it doesn't need that much carpet cleaner, to be fair, but might put a bit extra in just to get all the stink out, because the car does not smell great at the moment. Fill this guy up with carpet cleaner and just give it a spray thing. I think this is how you do it. Just finished putting the spray onto the seats, and I'll just grab a brush and just rub it in and try and get as much of the rubbish out of the seats as I can, and then we'll get it sucked out with a vacuum. Right, so I'm capturing everything that's come out, and that is grim. 27 years of sitting and farting on seats. Done the first, but that's just one. Seats feel damp, but got a lot of the moisture out, and the fabric looks a lot better. Okay, they look way better already. It's probably got the smell out of them, but they look a lot better. So now I've done the front seats, it's time to do the rear seats and the interior carpet. As you can see, everything is stripped out already. So it should just be a case of doing the back seats, then I can make a start on the interior carpet. This is what the interior looks like at the moment. Sorry about the sun. The worst bits are down here. The carpet's not too bad, actually. It's got some bits on it, but generally it's pretty good. So I'll get it sprayed, get it cleaned, and hopefully it'll come up a little bit brighter than it is now. It's quite a bit later now, and I've finished all of inside finally. For any stains that were a bit tricky to get out, I just used some standard carpet and upholstery cleaner. This stuff's just, yeah, pretty basic, but it does the job. And the rest of it seemed to pull out some good muck, so I'll show you now. So, oh my gosh. Wow. So that is what has come out of the front seats, the rear seats, and the interior carpets. So I'll show you the final product of today's work, which is the interior, and stick my head in and it doesn't smell, which is quite nice. It doesn't smell like old cars anymore, which is good. But I'll spin the camera around and I'll show you what it looks like. So you can see the carpet has come out pretty good. Not really many stains on there. The only thing is around this patch here. The rear seats looking pretty good. I even vaxed the seat belts as well. So it's a little bit damp in here, but not bad. So I'm just going to get tidied up and shut everything off for the day. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks it'll actually be running again. But tomorrow I'll film another video. I hope today has been interesting, and I hope you found it enjoyable. Let me know in the comments, drop me a message on Instagram if you want me to keep doing these, and if you've got any pointers, tips, anything at all, send them through. I appreciate your feedback, whatever you've got. But peace out.